Hello again. Now, protesters have gathered this afternoon outside the Russian embassy in Cape Town. Let's take you live now to Monique Mortlock, who's there on the ground. Monique, good afternoon. Protesters outside the Russian embassy, and one guesses it's against their invasion of Ukraine. What are you finding out?
Yes, definitely. We're here in Tybalt Square, where the Russian embassy in Cape Town is situated. The embassy has closed for the day, but we see members of the Ukrainian Association in South Africa and citizens of Ukraine who are gathered here. I'm just going to ask my colleague Temba to show you the scenes before us at the moment. Many people carrying posters that say, "Stop the war, Russia, leave Ukraine." The Ukraine's colours, their flag colours here. A little earlier when we arrived, the protesters who were gathered here, they were singing the Ukrainian anthem, and you could clearly see the emotion in many of the protesters' faces, many people crying as they were singing the anthem. And I can see that it's not only Ukrainians gathered here, but some locals, some Cape Townians also showing their support. But to speak to us a bit more, I have a member of the Ukrainian Association in South Africa with me. I can see that this is quite an emotional time for you. When I arrived here, you had tears in your eyes. What is going through your mind, especially in light of what happened this week?
I think as we are having this protest and standing here on the square, we just hope that our families are still alive. Because some of our members has lost already connection this morning because Russia is invading Ukraine full scale. So there's tanks, ballistic missiles. We don't have any single airport left. Our country is destroyed. And this is what Russia called Russian peace. We're just here to protest, to stand for Ukraine, to say that we are Ukrainians. And if this is our fault and Russia wants to kill us for that, we are here.
And I believe that you are calling on the South African government also to take a stand. What are some of the things that you are calling for as the Ukrainian Association in South Africa? And I believe that this won't be the last of these type of protests.
We obviously hope that Russia will hear us and will withdraw, but our history of 300 years of colonization shows that probably Russia is not going to hear us. But we are trying to defend our land. What we are calling South Africa, the government, not just government, but every citizen, to show their agency. If you are standing for country's sovereignty, your country, please stand with us. Because today Russia is violating the principle of sovereignty and integrity of Ukraine. Tomorrow it can be something else. In 2014, we were standing here at this square protesting against Russian invasion in Crimea and in the east of Ukraine. Then nobody heard us. Today, Wagner groups that were tested at that time in the east of Ukraine are around South African continent. This information that Russia is putting about Ukraine, that we are Nazis here, it's everywhere. It's creating the violence and driving division on the African continent and in South Africa. We want our budgets to be spent not on the missiles and the war. We want our country's budgets to be spent on education and life of our children. So this is what every single citizen can stand off. But we also call on South African government to stop any economic cooperation, to open visa-free regime for our citizens, for Ukrainians, those who are fleeing our country because they can't stay, because their houses were bombed, to reunite with their families here, at least during the time of war, to also cancel the visa-free regime with Russia, to stop the license of Russia today at the territory of South Africa as they are continuing spreading disinformation, and to use all possible diplomatic means. If diplomacy works with Russia, we have proven that it doesn't. It doesn't. Russia only understands the force. But we hope that South African voice can be heard. And what we've seen from from Russian embassy's reaction to the statement of South African Ministry of South African DIRCO, they say, don't get involved. Is this really about sovereignty? Where is South African government agency? We want to hear South African voice, not Russia to be telling South African government what they should be telling. Thanks.
Have you been able to hear anything from the family that you have, your family, your friends, your loved ones in Ukraine? What is the latest that you've heard from them? How are they feeling?
Last time I spoke before we started this protest at 2 o'clock. So my parents were in a bombing shelter, and the missiles were on the streets. The house next door to them in Kyiv, in the capital of Ukraine, where Russia claims their history started, was destroyed. There were tanks trying to enter the territory of Kyiv, but they are there to defend. They decided to stay to defend our freedom.
Thank you very much. That was eNCA Kashir from the Ukrainian Association in South Africa. I just quickly want to find out from other people who are here. Sorry, sir. I see. I would like to show your poster that you are holding. No war, only heart. Why did you decide to come and take part in today's protest?
Because I'm very committed to the Ukrainian people in South Africa and also in Ukraine. I'm also an associate member of the Ukrainian Association of South Africa and study Ukrainian.
Do you have any family or friends or loved ones in Ukraine that you have been in contact with?
Yes. I mean, some of the older people actually that were related to my brother are living in Kiev. Yes.
And how are they doing? What have they been telling you?
I have no contact with them because it is quite a number of generations ago. But the people that I know, they are in big trouble at the moment. Yes. But they are stick together and make sure that they won't lose their courage at all. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. We believe that this won't be the last of the protests, as the Ukrainian Association of South Africa said that they will be continuing these type of demonstrations, not only here in Cape Town, but in other parts of the country where the Russian embassies are situated, until they get a clear stance from the South African government on possibly boycotting Russia and outright condemning what is happening. And as we heard earlier from Jokovin from the Ukrainian Association of South Africa, she's saying that it's not enough for South Africa to merely condemn, but action needs to be taken. Certain sanctions by the South African government needs to be taken against Russia, and we'll keep you abreast of further developments as these protests continue across South Africa.
Yeah, for now, Monique, we know, though, that the government has decided to call for mediation and asking the United Nations Security Council to intervene. And President Ramaphosa earlier telling the media in Pretoria that he does not think mediation is over and there's needs for more negotiations. We'll have to see and wait what other action they'll be taking. Thank you very much, Monique Mortlock. Now,